Yes,
yeah.
okay,
Oh, yeah,
let's
English
go.
language.
English, yeah. So let's continue. One of the themes this year's ArtTech is tinkering, and I'm personally super excited to have one of my superheroes, Tuomo Tammenpää, here talking about his exciting tinkering work. So, very warmly welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Kind words. Never been called superhero before. Yes, my name is Tuomo Tammenpää. I'm from Finland, currently living in Kemiönsaari, which is the southwest corner of Finland, but mainly worked here in Helsinki and still working. Well, maybe a little bit of the title. Playful prototyping, that's been the kind of one of my main themes recently, and that was kind of the first title, but then I kind of decided to put the failing for fun there because it's kind of more maybe capturing, since that's I consider very important to fail a lot. I'm a designer and media artist, not that much a media art practitioner anymore. I haven't been exhibiting lately much, but I've done that quite a lot. Mostly doing concept design in a company called Yoda in Helsinki. And besides that, and always have been doing experimental prototyping, artwork, media art, all sort of tinkering. That's good new word for it. I think I haven't used that lately myself, but much myself. Involved also in Pixel Festival from the beginning here in Helsinki, and a little bit in OHanD.org, which is Open Hardware and Design Alliance, kind of promoting open hardware. So that's shortly my background. I probably have to jump a little bit and back that in some occasions, so to kind of give a context, but that's about me. So jump right into the kind of first fail. And this was a very positive one, and not actually by me, but my parents, because they bought me kind of toys like this when I was a kid, like Legos, Capsulan, WIC 20 in mid 80s, early 80s, and this is kind of made kind of what's based on all the tinkering I'm currently doing. So very open-ended toys that you can build yourself, your stuff. You can you have to build with Legos, you have to build with Capsulan, and you have to a little bit learn to even program instead of, for instance, playing console games with these stuff. And I'm sure you're quite well known of this, all of these. But this was kind of why I say it's failure, because obviously, if they've given me kind of more books or something, I might be kind of a famous lawyer or doctor or something, and have a nice house and three dogs and 17 kids and what have you. But I'm quite happily still in the learning. I have graduated as a photographer, but I haven't done that much at all in my life. But still continuous learning process and kind of in school. Few words about some methods. I doubt they kind of are really proper methods in scientific terms, but I'll try to throw something here in the beginning, and then I just try to show as many examples as I have time. Prototype. Nice thing about prototyping is that it kind of never fails. You always learn something. So it's a kind of in that sense very kind of nice way of thinking of working with by trying and trial and error. So I'm sure there's many much smarter than me said that kind of fail more. I tried to Google yesterday, but I couldn't find the real names. But you may know them. But I'm sure that's a kind of commonly known methods that kind of don't be afraid of failing, whatever is the kind of wording there. And if it somehow miraculously managed to fail by prototyping, that's even better, because then you really have learned something. So it's kind of it will go on and on. One other theme concerning this is serendipity. Probably a well-known word by now, used quite a lot lately, where you kind of accidentally find something amazing, or you kind of you are after something, and then you totally turn and change your course by discovering something quite kind of different from your original idea. So for instance, I think the kind of founding of penicillin, there's the story of this dude who kind of left his dirty petri dishes over the summer in London in late 20s, and there was the assistant didn't clean them up, and when he was back in the holidays, there was this kind of fungus which was kind of killing certain bacteria that was already in the dirty dishes. So he discovered that this fungus kills bacteria, and discovered penicillin with the other dudes as well. So I'm kind of and well, there's loads of examples of serendipitous findings. Thinking with hands, that's kind of the word I used myself mostly, and other excuses for play over work, because play is fun, work is tedious. So it obviously carries a lot of responsibility with it. So if you just try and don't document, for instance, and reflect, it might not be that useful. But as a general method, that's kind of what I try to do in all my work, not only in like physical interface, for instance, but all kinds of conceptual work or kind of teamwork. So this kind of leads to this one of these quotes: "Life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get." Forrest Gump's mom said that in a film, or Forrest said that it's from his mother. So it's like this kind of very open-eyed approach to anything in the world. So you're not basically afraid of anything. Yeah, you can easily try and change your plans accordingly, and which obviously has certain problems. Then there's the other quote, a little bit on the other end, from the Yoda dude: "Do or do not. There's no try." Probably familiar as well. So there's no kind of point in a sense, to start towards try, because then you might not end up anywhere. But I think that's kind of the continuous trying is kind of if you keep persistent with that and remember to document. I come back to this a little bit later, and reflect your tries. That's also the kind of same persistent, which is kind of you are just in endless kind of a mission to do by trying. So those are the few kind of ideas from the of what's behind there. Then some examples. I just realized when I was kind of invited here that I was about to present my kind of slides from my recent work, but then I found from kind of the boxes of my childhood cellar, there's a couple of prototypes from 80s. Which kind of linked to the kind of retro computing as well. I had the WIC-20 with me, and then I naturally wanted to, okay, what else you can do with the program. I can't to say that I can't program at all. I'm really kind of just mimicking others. But I managed to make a lined pen for this WIC-20, which you can kind of drive on the screen. Or actually, I managed to solder it, but it didn't work, and I was very frustrated and kind of almost burned this nice magazine where the kind of guides to build your own light pen was, but didn't give up and managed to make actually a relay controller for it, which was even more exciting. So this is the simple electronics. I was about 13, 14 then, and I didn't know anything about it. I hardly know still any electronics, but there's so nice examples around. You can just copy them and try them. So I managed to make it work. So I could make a little program that kind of switches on stuff in the real world, and that was kind of a really nice revelation for me. I just kind of been in 30 years later, been playing with a little bit the same stuff with microcontrollers when you're kind of connect existing computer logic to physical world. Then there's quite a big jump. There was like from 84 to, I don't know, 98 or something, there was like a little bit of art, amigas and basic stamps in my life, art school, trying to be a photographer, long hair, mustache, being really serious and took on black and white photos. And then there's an Amiga with the sound sampler, which was like, wow, what's this? And then a few years later, Basic Stamp, which is this nice microcontroller that just you can program with the basic language, and that was phenomenally interesting. And all this, after a little bit working with art projects, I found very interesting this kind of this technological side to artwork or creative work, so you can start to play with stuff. You don't have to be an engineer, you don't have to be a computer scientist, and you can still start to playing. And maybe the most successful longer prototype we have been, or I've been doing with my colleague Daniel Blackburn, was the tile toy in 2004 and 2006. I was artist in residence in Huddersfield in central or northern England, and met probably on the second pub night, I met this Daniel, who was a mobile phone game programmer or Game Boy programmer, and we kind of clicked immediately with the ideas that let's make something nice and simple gameplay or kind of play prototype, where you combine the computer logic with the kind of board gaming or social play. And we had this kind of idea that wouldn't be cool to have these tiles that has nice retro LED surfaces like they used to do in 80s, because we are fans of that. That you connect them, you can play kind of various kind of word or puzzle or kind of math games. So right, okay, of course we can do that because we just decide so, and neither of us really skill in electronics. I was a little bit reading more about the basic stamps and all that stuff, and Daniel was obviously a good programmer, so that was kind of covered. But the physical side was quite unknown, and then we start kind of this, you know, poking components in these boards and see what happens. And after a few puffs of smoke and almost catching fire the whole studio, we managed to make something that actually blinked the lights from this tiny little computer, and we were really super happy. Then we started kind of how you can connect them, and made this kind of little bit dubious looking stuff, especially we can carry this from festival to other in airport. It doesn't work anymore, it hardly worked then. But there's kind of reed switches and magnetic switches that you can detect the boxes, and kind of that led to more interesting findings by all exploration, that you can start to kind of connect these tiles. So gradually it moved towards this kind of interesting, almost professionally looking tiny prototype that we made a few. I show a video how it works later on, but it's kind of a 8x8 matrix in the box that has radio link and magnetic switches, and made it quite nice concept, proof of concept for this kind of playing tiles. So basically you connect the tiles and they recognize each other, and you can, for instance, add numbers, and it kind of tells the result, or make small puzzles or word games. And had few workshops in England for people to build themselves. So from the beginning it was idea that we don't, it wasn't planned for commercialize it, maybe through open hardware, which was then quite a new word in 2004. Maybe it might work, and I think it still might work, and it's still kind of on the drawer if we get interested in some point. Now there's a quite a few, a little bit similar, like Shiftio and one other, I can't remember the toy's name, but but they are far from being open hardware, and far from that you could just put your own games to them. They do what the kind of toy manufacturer decided they do. So that's quite boring from our point of view. And published, how do you do it yourself? I don't know how many actually managed to do them by themselves according to our documentation, but some. And toured a little bit around Northern America and Japan, and showing the kind of concept. Then another project about the same time, overlapping a little bit the tile process, was I was still then working with Mindworks, which was a Helsinki-based IT company from the kind of early years. And there's the Joensuu Science Park commissioned us to make or be a part of the team who designed a bunch of prototypes for this really, really huge space in Science Park context, and with startups and university linked there, that we were kind of designing a new kind of working environment. So instead of just kind of incubators for startups or own room for everybody, there was always free space, and there was a different kind of atmospheres in different spaces, and different kind of learning tools or team working tools. So we designed this kind of bunch of audio visual prototypes, how to kind of get people to work together. So try to kind of give them audio feedback where they're for the mood changes in the space, and also how to connect with their colleagues and also kind of other people in the space. So trying to kind of make this kind of matchmaking. And there was these are the examples that prototypes that conceptual prototypes never done. So wouldn't it be cool that, you know, the bamboos or some vegetation would kind of wave according to the activity of the people there or activity of the network? Would it be cool that every person would have a tubular bell chime, that when you know there's 17 people working, it sounds a little bit different. When there's this and this team working, it sounds different. So these unobtrusive soundscapes that you could kind of keep in the space and learn, teach people that it's kind of a collaborative workspace. Various kind of stuff never made, lots of stuff on drawing board, but some things were made, and so we would try to kind of concentrate on the thing that how we can get people to kind of approach each other and start working, because there's researchers from who are there for 3 months or 1 week, or then there's companies who are there all the time, and then groups that just visit there. How you kind of break the ice between these different teams and give them chance to kind of gradually find each other there and gradually find each other's skills and wills, how we want to kind of address that people work. So then there was kind of various furniture, concept furniture, technology embedded in furniture, that we wanted to kind of, how do you record your thoughts, that if you kind of had this a small token that if you, it's kind of everything, the tables are recording all the time if you are okay with it. And then you can just, if you just realize that that was really good idea, you can jump back in time and save that what just been said, and we play with that kind of a memory recorder for a while. Worked quite nicely. I don't recall that, maybe we didn't embed it actually in the furniture, but lots of kind of prototyping. And all of this was kind of done by trying, so there wasn't really like, let's make a plan first and then somebody executes it, but it was like, let's try on this and constant kind of very short circle iteration. Try and back to the drawing board, try and back to drawing board. And it's really super fun. It kind of takes time, and we were naturally lucky that this kind of EU-funded project made it possible. Usually you don't, you know, prototype with your client's money. That's they can be really pissed with that. But in this case, it was kind of by default that let's prototype, and managed to do lots of kind of design that technology is invisible and tries to serve people as best, and so there was kind of quite nice revelations there. But one of the problems with this kind of things is that it's a project. Projects always end, and this naturally should have had lots of kind of time to explore later that what really did work and what didn't work, and then continue that work. So there's a kind of this long tail or even follow-up usually disappears when everybody shakes hands and get drunk and go away and the work is delivered. So there's I don't really know what's going on there at the moment. I have no clue what is functioning and what they have developed further, and I probably could find out, but it's still, it is kind of this, it should be a research project on its own. But quite nice revelations, how people find each other through this kind of quite ubiquitous computing, which is embedded in the space. And few technological kind of finds that we kind of discovered. And this one of them was this capacitive film as a touchscreen. We were asked why this Nazaris really automated big sofa factory in Estonia, owned by Finnish guy. And they had this kind of a showroom problem, and all their sofas was like this, and they're really expensive and really cool sofa, but you can't really kind of sell them because they look ugly when you put them in showroom. So we were asked to do this kind of display, interactive display, how to build your sofa and select the fabrics, and it's almost a sofa printer. It was in our mind. So when you've done it, you push the button, and the super robotic factory just prints out the sofa. Well, that wasn't quite the case, but that was the kind of idea we started to go for, and play with this idea that of kind of combining physical objects and screen representation. So you could play with these kind of pieces of sofas, and simultaneously virtual sofa is or kind of a digital version of the sofa is kind of building there in front of you. That turned out to be way too expensive, so we have to skip that. But we made this kind of touchscreen touchscreen version out of it, where you just kind of build your sofa bit by bit, and you see the kind of different fabrics there. But the technological prototyping innovation was this kind of you can use these capacitive films for glass surfaces that you can really nicely hide the touchscreen. And this was kind of a year before iPhone, for instance. So it was a little bit new thing. Touchscreen were existing, obviously, but they were kind of you could quite clearly see where the screen ends and the furniture begins. But this was just a big glass wall, and it was really nice to use, and especially looked good, which was kind of important for the showroom purposes. When I'm time, yeah, 20 minutes. Then something completely different, back to the kind of game prototyping with Daniel. This was one of those, I think, epic failures. We thought about that this would be an excellent idea, that's because RFID readers are a bit expensive and tags are cheap. So I made a board game which is full of RFID tags, so it's a kind of a matrix of tags. And you have these wireless readers that you can use as game pieces. And they obviously know where they are and where the other one is, because they're connecting to each other. So let's do this kind of Minesweeper game, where you kind of carefully step to somewhere else and see if there's a mine, and you are revealed how many mines are around you, and try to kind of play that, and so there's a few symbols, how many mines, and heart, and if you're alive, and bang if you're dead. But it's kind of turned out to be absolutely impossible to play. You can't really, obviously the computer version, as you know, you see the numbers all the time around you, but in this you have to kind of memorize where something was. So it was kind of well, lots of not that lots of work, probably kind of a couple of days work, but no, absolutely crap game concept, and totally impossible to play, but really fun to make. But I still, I'm pretty sure that this has some kind of this RFID tag kind of a matrix of tags embedded in a board game. Could be quite nice idea to explore in some other kind of game idea. So feel free to use it if you have one. This was just a kind of a soldering prototype almost. We wanted to do this kind of there's one, how small resolution can a game be? So this is a 8x8 matrix, and there's one light is your spaceships, and then there's comets coming you have to avoid, and there's a gravity, and well, it worked, but it was really boring to play, and difficult as well. But it's kind of a proof that, okay, you can do even a game screen 8x8 size, and naturally with some color games or even more symbolic games, you're okay with the less. But this was kind of our smallest screen. Then there's kind of a memory pot. This more sound device prototype. Playing with sound is nice when you do electronics. This doesn't really reveal much. We managed to make actually a real kind of our only PCB so far for it. But I see if there's any sound here. The thing is that you just record pot turning, potentiometer turn, and then it plays it back. Simple as that. So you basically have a potentiometer with a memory. So you can make really annoying sounds maybe less annoying or more annoying, but you can actually program the kind of it's kind of light play thing, and it maybe make a little bit more sense if you use it with the kind of cooler sound sources. So you push a button and you tweak the knob, and then you release it, and then it just plays the tweak after you, and that's quite nice. Quite nice experiment to play with very cheap electronic components. Back to some game ideas. Shop Hapney's old pub game, maybe you know it from kind of history of games. You basically have to kind of, it's a board pub game. You kind of push or throw a coin, and you try to achieve the different lines. So you basically try to collect all the different kind of slots where you can push it. So we tried to make let's do this as an RFID game, so you can tags are nice to push, and what happens if you kind of just measure them through a hole, and made a few experiments on this, and soon realized that RFIDs are really good for if you have loads of tags to kind of count them when kind of human logic or kind of you can't keep up the track with the paper and pen, for instance. So we were kind of a little bit off with the idea that it's still quite slow and it's very easy to track them by paper. But if you would have like balls or loads of them, you have a really kind of massive kind of piles of those tags. You could try to kind of even like more like pachinko style to achieve something. Then the tag idea would work. But it was just a tag going through the hole and RFID reader reading the thing. So there's quite lots of RFID reader-based stuff here because it's very cheap and practical way to kind of integrate some interaction with physical object which doesn't need any power. So tag is a passive tag, so no batteries needed in that end. Playful was I did myself as a kind of a game educative platform to try for various kind of pedagogical challenges. I didn't have any other idea in mind that just let's put some kind of intelligence in the objects so the system knows how they are played, and give this to kids and see how they kind of come up with it. So it was a few first examples was just playing with different kind of instant gratification that if you do with the dog, there's a dog sound and dog image, and you can combine something there and try it with in a gallery context, and just also to see how actually the tangibility of the object, how this affects on the gameplay when you have a kind of you can use your both hands. You don't need any game manuals. But you understand it immediately and it kind of let it go. So it's more like a play platform than a game platform in that sense. Made one little bit more playful version when you have this kind of funny family. So you have a kind of wheels of car and the head of a pig and the tail of the cow, and you can combine these different animals. So it's kind of you are gradually building a funny character, and you just change one bit of the animal to a vehicle or animal, and that was quite fun for a while, and that's also I think in the state of that could be go somewhere, I don't know, maybe interesting for education, but then I would need partner or kind of help with the professional pedagogues or teachers to see that what actually is what are the key factors when you need to teach, for instance, learning kind of disabled or challenged kids, or the other hand, just something completely different in the kind of in game world, for instance. And toured a little bit on that somewhere around. From that experience, the RFID worked nicely. We made this for our company presentation in the kind of there's a big design event a couple of years ago in Tokyo, Finnish design, Hirameki, kind of presenting Finnish design in Tokyo markets, and we were kind of concepting company that has just a lot of different skills. So I made this kind of a version of or kind of caricature of each kind of skill we have, and made this kind of combined touchscreen RFID table that you basically you kind of have a dialogue with our expertise. So if you want to ask with an architect or project manager, you can play with these, and then they speak, you know, what's the point what's their expertise has to do with concept design or improving existing products and services was the kind of a question. So think about your product or service and try what our architect or what our kind of service designer would kind of suggest to that problem. So it was really kind of a simple but playful kind of dialogue for us as a company without us being all the time there. So you could kind of have these short dialogues with our kind of idea of this multi kind of expertise concept company. I don't know if there's anything. But you get the idea. And printed this also the papercraft thing that you could take with us, so you could kind of collect the whole bunch of us. Then more artsy, art science kind of not really, but well, it's a prototype. Yeah, it's a prototype. You can say that. This was a workshop in Archipelago 2010 and 2011 in two parts where we kind of got to kind of off-the-grid situation in an island and produced our own energy and made a sensor, wireless sensor prototype for environmental sensing and art visualization in a kind of off-the-grid environment. So carrying over water, making food, producing the energy, and being quite aware of the kind of what happens when you are not part of the kind of grid as such. So I was interested in this idea of the wireless, early wireless technologies called these semaphores, when you put the certain flags and or kind of levers and flags, and you transmit visually information over a certain distance, obviously as long as you can just see. But this kind of, there was I found really nice kind of examples of already existing wireless network in kind of 200 years ago from Turku to Sweden through the kind of islands there. Still one standing there in Stockholm. So I thought this is kind of a nice idea to somehow connect to this wireless sensoring. So I made this my own little bit small kind of semaphore. And this wireless sensor that measures, in this case, only water temperature. I didn't have any fancy water quality equipment, so I just kind of prototype it or proof of the concept with the temperature sensor. So wirelessly transmitting that. Some tests there with the fishing rod and laptops and all kind of junk. This is the size scale it, so it was quite small. And the idea would be, would it be cool that this kind of a really big semaphore that if you're sailing by, you could see by visually what's the water quality there. So you could kind of, you don't have to put the stuff online, but you can use it locally. And I made this kind of a really quick prototype of that. And I was happy that it kind of somewhat worked. The idea, of course, the semaphore sending kind of character by character information, it's very limited. So it would be more interesting that make it more animated in somehow that it tells clearly kind of when it's something is wrong or something is okay, or even water temperature. It might be interesting to kind of know it from the distance. What's the temperature over there for kind of a local. But and this was just kind of obviously it doesn't. Temperature doesn't change that much unless it's just decimals, but you could easily transmit information by that and make this solar panel buoy was quite kind of self-contained. I use it just over kind of couple of days time, so I don't know how much you would need really kind of maintenance on the long run. But we try to make this kind of that it runs on its own. Then actually a couple other examples from friends of mine or colleagues of mine on that, which I find really nice in kind of this artwork context. So Ben Drowery here in the left, helped by Till Bowman. Ben made this really nice idea that, okay, how we measure fish radioactivity. So we make this, there's a Geiger counter and a lure. So the fish swims in, is measured, flapped out, and the information is sent back. So it's kind of quite obvious that it takes a little bit more sophisticated technology than that, but the idea was really nice. And this I really like prototyping, that you are very sure that this won't be, I mean, the kind of you know, commercialized product at any point as such, but because you want to kind of think with your hands and try it, you build it anyway. So really kind of a massive contraption that you barely kind of could float. But and obviously we couldn't catch. Luckily we couldn't catch any radioactive fish there. But the idea was kind of important, and since the kind of fish radioactivity is increasing, and so as a concept there's nothing wrong. But maybe the execution was a little bit kind of taped together. Then Yara Kask and Igor Rocha from Florianópolis, Brazil, they had this, there's a big mangrove area there, which is protected area, and they wanted to do kind of try if you can do kind of floating sensors with the existing natural materials there, apart from the little bit of electronics you need. So they missed this kind of agar-agar coconut Arduino water quality sensor, which were really absolutely cool. So managed to kind of embed the technology in the coconut, which were floating in the ocean, and see how it kind of would work in this protected area environment. Then quite recent one from Yatta, our current company. For Elisa, we were part of this their kind of retail concept redesign. And we have this, or I was more in charge of the interfaces there, the physical interfaces. So try to think that how would you in the shop context, which I won't go too far now. It's kind of off-topic bit, but how you find interactive places and how you be interested in kind of approaching something that's so super technological environment, like kind of full of mobile phones and computers and entertainment devices. So this idea that let's make very kind of symbolic, almost 3D pictogram objects out of those that you can touch. So white, touch them, smooth to handle, and then try to figure out how to kind of promote their products and services through these interfaces. And also play with the kind of tangible objects, so you don't have to always slap a touchscreen or push a button. So you can also play with these kind of characters and find about their service. In this case, the Vahti, the kind of surveillance or a kind of smart home platform. And lots of prototypes showing with MDF, trying to how they look, and eventually going through the kind of next versions and various kind of interactive media wall. All the prototyping had to be done really without using the kind of multi-screen installation, because that's just always going to be finalized in the end. So it was kind of had to be done through very kind of crude prototyping and really hope it works. And one part obviously is that you then kind of need to be very involved in the actual installation of the shops and take care that everything works, because it would be nice to say that for instance, in experimental context or in art gallery, it's a very important responsibility that you as a maker take care that it does work, because it's really annoying to go to a museum and it says the out of order or the kind of the interactive thing worked for 3 days out of 3 months exhibition. But especially in commercial context, they just have to work. There is no option that it's out of order. So it kind of naturally puts a lot of constraints on that and prototyping phase and the experimental phase. So these are the few kind of glimpses of what we designed there. There's kind of this media wall that interacts. It's a Kinect hack. So there's a Kinect and a running Mac and Quartz Composer. That there's a kind of a couple of videos later on, and the different new queuing system where you don't have to stare kind of the number, but the numbers are all over the space, and you can go around and not sit in the row and wait for your go. And a couple of touchscreen prototypes there as well. Oh no, these are kind of can't say a prototype. In that sense, I dare to say they are prototypes that obviously we made them that they will work. There's no malfunction, but we obviously didn't know how well they serve their purpose as a presentation of this product or service they are promoting. So it's kind of in that sense, it's a prototype for kind of how successfully the people are getting interested in these what they try in the shop, and then kind of we see. So it's a prototype in that sense, but the interfaces were finalized so that they surely work. A couple of examples there on playing with a kind of a screen, and it was quite a little bit hard to prototype this when you just can use a smaller projector and you don't have the space to move around. This is in Jyväskylä, and there's one in Tampere. Shop it if you want to go there. Then we made this for the hockey this year hockey tournament. There's the kind of play with the lion dude, and torppa the other dudes and collect some points. So that would work also quite nicely on the kind of even as a multiplayer kind of shop entertainment. So this wasn't really promotion any product. It was just a playful interaction in the shop. And then one more. There's a promotion for the Elisa book, which is basically the audio or e-books in your pocket. So you are a mobile phone, and then you collect all these books, and we aware of the worm, and then you see how many kilos actually you're carrying up kind of books in your pocket. So it's kind of try to make the point that a whole library in your pocket, in a way. Nice and playful. And then there's this probably the last example, going back in time, and this is one of those kind of facepalm moments as well. Mölkky is this Finnish game that you throw a log and try to break a kind of a group of other logs. I'm sure most of you know it. Let's make it electronic. So let's change the number in the top, that it changes, for instance, randomly, and when you hit it with tilt over and then tells you what number you got. And all nice woodwork and kind of a drilling, and was really great. Not that kind of sturdy, but still somewhat playable. So when you see it on the playfield, you actually couldn't see it really well in the playfield. So fail number one, and obviously this kind of tilted little bit, and it shows you number is very nice in kind of indoors. But when you start to kind of throwing the brick, it was like 2 hits, and it was totally completely busted and broken and all over. So it's of course that can be made more sturdy, and we were quite aware of that. This probably will not take the hits of the block, but it's still that's just a question of then make it more durable for different materials and make it kind of some cushioning there. So it's definitely will work. But it's still, even though we know that it probably won't work, we had to build it anyway because we wanted to see it done in a way that we wanted to see the kind of and try it. And that's kind of the maybe the passion or moral of all these examples, that it's a kind of sometimes even you will know that it will fail, you do it anyways because it's much more fun that way to experiment. So maybe the tips. If I dare to throw a few, this is the real super important. See, what we've been kind of constantly avoiding, or even not necessarily constantly avoiding by kind of on purpose, but it's kind of the thing when you try something and then you are very kind of fascinated by it. But when if you at that point need to kind of start to reflect or document it, it's kind of the boring bit, and you just want to jump to the next thing. So a lot of the stuff is really badly documented, and this is something that I kind of would kind of underline on this kind of playful or failure, fun for failing methods. That try to document it kind of super well, even kind of put too much energy on it, because it's so much nicer after. Later on, either tell somebody about it, or even find out what if there's something was that you kind of could use for totally some other purposes. And then the reflection comes kind of after it, so it should be probably document and reflect, that you can you think about it afterwards. So what really happened, what worked and what didn't, and not just run to the next kind of thing. More important in a way, have fun. It's the main motivator for any work whatsoever. So you know that as if you're a game designer, so more in that you know very well that how good games motivate and keep you captured, and that's one of the most powerful things that you can ever use as a designer, as a tool to keep people enjoyed. So, and that's and the third tip is kind of that it's really serious thing. It's not just fun for you, but it's a fundamental part of motivation. So, in these lines, I kind of wish you epic failures, and thank you at this point, and get some questions.
Yeah, so questions? Anyone?
Want to run back
Come
some slides?
on. Pesku. Question?
What's your biggest failure?
Yeah, I kind of was expecting that, but wasn't prepared for it. I would say I would come back to the biggest failures. Prototyping is this lack of documentation and this writing some notes. That because a lot of this thinking with hands happens, they are very kind of. They are very obvious things, but it's really hard to remember the feeling or how it felt or how it worked later on. So any even kind of record and just talk it aloud when you try it would be kind of super kind of useful later on. So you think that you will know, you think you're very pleased with the thing that it just you immediately got the response. Okay, that didn't work and that worked, and then moving on. But there's a lot of tiny things that you get totally overlooked if you don't have a little bit thorough documentation there. Point. So it was quite difficult to get even these slides together for all those projects, and even we have been kind of photographing quite a lot. But when I was kind of gathering this presentation, I realized this that it's really a lot of lost opportunities of the lack of documentation, or some reflections also that how I really felt about that, not just a yes or no, didn't worked, and then moving along. So, and yeah, and so the prototypes itself, I really considered as how big failure they would be, and they're still all kind of learned that they're all worthwhile unless somebody gets really seriously injured or kind of too much money lost on some big bang of somethingness.
More questions? Yeah.
Well, other than that basic having fun that you mentioned in the end, do you follow any more solid, more theoretical design principles of engagement because I was left with the impression that most of your interactions are about gamification, more or less. So do you follow some basic engagement design principles like the 3-minute loop or
that's an area that I'm really not that skillful, so I try to kind of get those, and I'm just currently getting my hands on the game books. I haven't I don't think we have done any game that you would say that it's kind of finalized. So Daniel, my colleague, he knows these methods, but that's in kind of a programming side, and it's for this physical interaction. There hasn't been any kind of I don't know about them that well. And they have been more like I would say at gamification. Yes, that's something that I would really love to work, but then I need lots of more expertise around me, also besides just Dan. The play models when the ideas are more open-ended and there's not necessarily similar constraints that the really good games have, then it gives a little bit more freedom. But obviously they need to be kind of fun and playable as well. So it's also play is boring if it's a boring or bad play. So as in games, but no, not in that. There's in interaction design side there's this kind of certain kind of iterative methods that you kind of go through. So you go frequently enough back to the drawing board and you try to kind of keep everybody in the loop instead of this kind of long phases and kind of moving on like the traditional method. So that's maybe the only one, and some are probably kind of. I'm a lot of self-educated in digital design as well, because when I was school there was hardly anything, and all has come by experimental. So I might actually use some methods, but I don't know them by name. So which is kind of okay as well if it works.
If no more questions, yeah, one more.
Okay, you said that you should finish the project even if you think it's going to fail because it's more fun that way. Has there been any project you think would fail but finished it anyway and it actually worked?
Oh, good question. Yes, although we managed. Yeah, there's. I don't think the one. I don't now remember anything that we managed to. We knew that it would fail and try it, and that particular thing would somehow miraculously work after all. There could be something, but I can't put my finger into now. But definitely, most of the times, any of those kind of experiments that we're doing, apart from the imminent failure, there was so many little things learned and little other things solved within the project, because usually it's always part of something. The prototype is part of kind of a system of other things. You could also, you always prove or acid test some other parts of it, how it interfaces with something else, and all these bits. So these always solved a bunch of those, and sometimes kind of got us kind of in a totally new ideas that there's something completely different was kind of game developed on that. But I can't say that we have actually that the things that we thought will fail did totally fail. So that's for sure.
Where do you find people who are willing to pay for the failures?
Yeah, that's the I kind of touched it in the Network Oasis project. So nobody, you shouldn't tell that. That's the thing. It's I'm sure it's kind of the same that if you're game developers, I'm sure you kind of do a lot of trial and error. So basically that's the same thing. You need to try certain things unless it works. It's just if you start to spend a lot of kind of, if you made it very, very clear that now we make this and these prototypes, clients hate prototype work. They really, at least in physical side. I don't know how it's in game design, but if you mention that first we make these prototypes, no, we don't need prototypes. We just need it. You solve it, and then you have to kind of keep that method somehow under the radar. But there's for instance, the Network Oasis case was that it was. There was a researcher's part of it, and they were really interested in this serendipitous process, so they wanted also failure. So that was kind of a dream come true case in that sense, that there was a lot of time to play with the kind of ideas that were totally uncertain that will happen. So it was kind of more, there was academic decided, there's a bunch of researchers who were just concentrating on that side, and we had the opportunity to play with a few interfaces with the kind of the risk of failing as well. So thank you, European Union, for all of this kind of things. But I don't know if any commercial client would kind of willing to pay that unless they have a really problem of cash deposits that have to be blown. Apple, maybe.
Thanks for the questions.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tuomo.
Yeah. Misusage.org is the stuff with some of this is a little bit documented. Yatta.fi, the company site, there's barely nothing there, so kind of. But if you have a look there, and I'm really interested in collaborating with all kind of people. So if you find anything this relating to, just drop me a mail or talk to afterwards. So I'm really kind of quite aware that I or we can't solve these by ourselves. But no massive fundings, unfortunately, at the moment to give. But some kind of some work in kind of collaboration, obviously.
Yeah.
Thank you.